Welcome back into the Horse Racing Show, listening coast to coast in 17 countries. We thank you all, especially all of you YouTube watchers and subscribers. And this is one of the guys. If you could hang out with a guy for a day, you'd want to hang out with Eddie Olczyk. And I mean, I love working with this guy and just hanging around. And I'm just going to tell you all the credentials, not that he needs to hear them, not that you probably don't already know, but let's see, 17 years old. He's on the 1984 hockey team, Olympic hockey team. He's 16 NHL seasons, Stanley Cup champ, U.S. Hockey Hall of Famer, Emmy Award winner, lead analyst on NBC for NHL, and the top analyst, I think, out there in horse racing, handicapper. What else, Eddie Olczyk? Oh, you're an author, Beating the Odds in Hockey and Life. And now here he is, the aforementioned Eddie Olczyk. Enzo, how are you?
Hey, Kenny, always great to be with you. You know, the one thing you missed on there was, and my good friend.
And my good friend, I forgot. I'm going to redo the whole thing.
We're good. We're good. Thanks a lot, Kenny. Always great to be with you, pal. And I'm sure there are a few teachers of mine back in the day that probably are shaking in their boots, if they're still with us, wondering how in the hell is Eddie Olczyk an author? Like, first off, he can't put three words together, let alone a book of 278 pages. And just for the record, Kenny, of course, we all have friends, that become ex-friends very quickly when they don't say nice things. A lot of my former friends asked if there were any crayons with this book. So the answer is no, there are no crayons with this book that I have put out to the masses in the world.
You're not that guy that has never read a book but wrote one, are you?
Well, full disclosure, I probably maybe a baker's dozen in my life. So factually, I have read. I have read more than none. So yes, so I think I'm well ahead of it.
This is a book that's gotten great reviews. You're getting a lot of attention for it. You talk about your hockey career, and most important, above and beyond everything, is your battle with stage 3 colon cancer, and you've been clean for over a year. And, that's the biggest odd to beat out there.
Yeah, for sure, Kenny. I mean, it is a story about my journey. Look, we all have a story, right? Like, we all have a story, and life is not easy. I don't care how old you are, where you come from. Life is a battle. And for me, I had to overcome a lot of obstacles to get where I was able to get to in international hockey, like you mentioned, playing for the 84 Olympic hockey team, and then playing, 16 years in the National Hockey League. And, my life in broadcasting, not only in hockey, but also in horse racing as well. And that's where our paths have been able to cross. And I know I'm better for having you in my life and being a teammate of yours on NBC on our great horse racing team, which I love dearly. And, and you're right. And a lot of it is with my battle with stage 3 colon cancer. And, I've had the opportunity to write a book or two before, Kenny. And I was just, like, who, I was hesitant. Right. And then, and when I got sick, and then when I was going through my chemotherapy in late 2017 and early 2018, I just started kind of reflecting on my life. And again, I didn't know what was going to be on the other side of the 6 months of chemo. I really didn't. And I'm like, maybe I can share my story. Maybe I can inspire somebody, either to, in particular with the cancer battle or any illness or anything that they may be going through, is maybe I can inspire one person, maybe to handle it, to stay away from it, to be proactive and say, hey, you know what? Like, if I'm not feeling good, I should raise my hand and go see a doctor. I'm not going to put off getting a colonoscopy for 6 or 7 years when I should have it done, and maybe just help somebody get through the day. And I think that's where I really believe, and no pun intended, is like, I really think that's where I made the decision, and that ended up being the final chapter of me deciding to do this book. Was, you know what, maybe I can help one person. Maybe I can just put a smile on somebody's face and help them along, and say, hey, you know what, if that old broken down horse player and hockey player can do it, well, I sure in the hell can, right? And I just it's a story I think for everybody. I think it's a book for all ages, Kenny. I think if you're a hockey fan or horse racing fan, sports fan, or somebody that has been touched by this horrible disease, I think it's for everybody. And look, I think three things I would almost guarantee and promise. One is you're going to laugh because there are a lot of hockey stories and horse racing stories in there. I think you'll cry because it's a very in-depth, emotional journey about my life and people that are most important to me. And three is I'm hoping is that maybe, you'll love a little bit more because I think anybody that knows me and is in my so-called circle knows how important they are to me. And I've always let them know how I felt about them. And in particular, my wife and my kids and my immediate family. But, I've always had this thing, Kenny, where I've always let my wife know that, look, like, God forbid, and if something would happen to me, I hope you know and want you to know how much you mean to me and how much I love you, and I would not want to leave this earth and not have you know what you have meant to me in my life. And like I said, like it would kill me not to be here, and she didn't know that, right? Like,
Right.
so. And my wife would always say, nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to happen. But look, in the big picture, Kenny, and we know it all, every day, right? Like in the big picture, we're all day to day, right? Like
Right.
you hear sports coaches talk about players and all levels and sit there and some in the media ask them, how's player A? How's your catcher? How's your goalie? And he's day to day. And well, I'm in the big picture, Kenny. Aren't we all day to day?
Yeah.
So I just think that it has a little bit of everything there. And my wife is, I mean, she was there every step of the way, Kenny. I mean, she really was. You know
Oh,
the story. I mean,
I've
my,
been
my wife
around her,
Diana.
and
I
she's
mean,
just special. Yeah.
she when I was at my lowest during my chemo treatments, treatment two actually, because I was diagnosed in August of 2017. I started my treatments on September 11th of 2017, my first treatment. And then on my second treatment, I think it was like the 25th or 26th of September, the side effects, Kenny, were just, and I talk about it in the book, but the side effects just, they broke me down.
Hmm.
I mean, it was the nosebleeds, the headaches, the neuropathy. I developed a blood clot in my leg, and
Yeah.
look, and you just go to the bathroom, like you have no control of your body, and let alone your mind because of the medicine. But you just go to the bathroom, and I told my wife, I quit. I quit. And Kenny, I've never quit at
I know
anything in
that.
my life,
I
pal.
know
I've
that.
never. I mean, I don't care if I'm down 7-1 in a hockey game. I don't care if I'm down $2,500 at the racetrack.
I
Like
know.
I'm
I
not.
know Eddie Olczyk does it. I know that.
I'm not quitting. I'm not quitting, Kenny. But like this tested my will to live. It really did. And I told my wife I quit. And I was emotional. I'm just like, how am I going to get through two treatments, let alone get through 10 more? And I got to get to the middle of February. And Kenny, this is probably the most powerful thing that I say in this book is that, look, like my wife grabbed me, and this is why the caretakers and caregivers, and you know this very well, the caretakers and caregivers go through a lot too. Like they may not be going through it physically,
Right.
but they're going through it mentally. And my wife grabbed me when I wanted to quit, and she just looked at me and just said, fight
Yeah.
for me, fight for our kids, and fight for all the people that love you. And Kenny, I mean, we cried. I cried for, it seemed like, for hours. I mean, it was like a 30-minute embrace. And I just needed to hear that. Like I needed it. I took a deep breath, Kenny,
Uh huh.
and I just said, okay, you know what? And then I put back on my hockey helmet and my days of, being a player and people telling me I would never accomplish anything in my hockey career or my hockey life. And I said, okay, I'm just going to chip away, Kenny. And I think that that's kind of where I go in this story. And like I said, if I can just inspire one person and help them get through the day, let alone their battle, then it was well worth the 16 months of this venture in writing this book.
This says a lot. What you just heard from this man. This is why I love this guy. And we've had an instant friendship since I first interviewed him on the roof at Churchill Downs when he had a break from the playoffs at the NHL, and you came as a spectator. Do you remember that?
Oh, I do, Kenny. I
And
don't get many weekends off during the NHL playoffs, and our boss Sam Flood was kind enough to set me up with a couple of tickets, and I got there, and that's when our paths had crossed. And I mean, I've been watching you on TV since I was a young boy, Kenny, so I know who you were.
I knew that was coming. Eddie Olczyk, the book is Battling the Odds in Hockey and in Life. It's a great book, and it's available now. Edzo, if somebody listening right now wants to say, I need to have the Eddie Olczyk book, they can go to Amazon, I know.
Yeah, they could pretty much go to any book outlet, anywhere and get it. Proud to say that it's the number one selling hockey book out there right now. I'm battling with the great Nick Lidstrom of the Detroit Red Wings, who retired recently and one of the greatest defensemen in our lifetime in the NHL. He's got a book out, so we've been going back and forth, and I'm proud to say anytime I can have Eddie Olczyk in the same sentence of Nick Lidstrom, life is good, but and also too, I know it's doing very well. I think it's top 4 or 5 as far as books with cancer stories in them. So I'm very proud of it, Kenny. You're in there. Our family at NBC Horse Racing is in there. There are a lot of horse racing stories with some nice scores that I've had over my lifetime. There's a couple of real stories and sad stories in there about horse ownership for me, and so it's a little bit of everything. But yeah, you can find the book anywhere, and hopefully people will enjoy it. And like I said, I think you'll laugh, I think you'll cry, and I'm hoping most importantly is that maybe you'll love a little bit more, and we could, I think we all can use a little of that more in all of our lives, regardless of where we are.
And that's the way Eddie is, because sometimes I was doing a polo deal. Remember a couple of years ago, I was doing a U.S. Open polo. Yeah. I get this text, and I'm looking, and it goes, hey, there's Eddie Olczyk. Just sent me you're watching. Yeah, it meant a lot to me. I mean, that was just nice. You didn't have to say anything.
Kenny, look at, buddy. Look at. People don't need to hear this, but you know what? Too bad. It's your podcast, and I'm your guest, so they're going to have to listen.
Okay.
To this. Like, you are, besides being a great coworker and awesome at what you do, you are a friend. You are a true friend. I am blessed that our lives have crossed, and like I said, I am better for it. You are the ultimate teammate. You have great respect from a lot of people in the industry of broadcasting, not just the horse racing industry. But I'm just very lucky that I can call you a friend, and you've been a great supporter of mine, and obviously when I was going through my battle, and I'll never forget the support and the texts and the calls, and
you inspired us.
We're going to be friends through and through, regardless of of what comes up. But I just want everybody to know what I think of you, and got a chance to meet your dad for the first time a couple of weeks ago.
He loved that.
A great thrill. So
he's pretty tough for a 90-year-old guy, ain't he?
Oh man, he looks amazing. He looks amazing. So look, where can I sign up for that deal? Let me know. Can you let me know, please?
I think you got to work in a coal mine for 40 years. That kind of toughens you up if you survive that. You're pretty tough.
A tough man, your father, no question about it.
Well, I'm blessed to have him, to have you, and to have some really friends in my life. And I spoke of it earlier, Eddie. Other sports I've covered, it's not the camaraderie as it is with our NBC group. They're the people I genuinely like, the people I work with on the horse racing show.
Yeah, look, we all want to do well. I mean, look, everybody has egos, right? That's just human nature. That's how we are wired. But you know what? There's when we get on our shows, we have really, we have one goal, right? Yeah. And that's to put the best product on the television and tell people, tell the story, don't be the story. And I think from our leadership of Sam Flood and Rob Hyland all the way through to Billy Matthews and Lindsay Shanzer, the people, that are our bosses and calling the shots from producing and directing, and then our talent out in the field. I mean, I think we have an amazing team, and the chemistry is great. We have fun, and that to me is I love going to work, and I feel very lucky to be able to go to work and do what I do and love to do it, not only because it's a passion of mine and I want to be the best at what I can do on our shows, but it's the people you work with what makes it fun, right? Who wants to go to work and be miserable? That's just, hey, you know what? We're lucky. We got a great team, and that's how I look at it, and you're a huge part of that, and I can't wait to get together with you when we get to California for the Breeders' Cup. Kenny's right around the corner, buddy. We're less than 3 weeks away, man.
Considering this is called the Horse Racing Show, I should ask you, is there one or two races that you're really interested in the Breeders' Cup this year?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I am really really going to be interested to see what Mr. Mandela, Richard Mandela, does with Omaha Beach. Like
Yeah.
he win the three quarters, a 6 furlong race in California, whatever, 7, 10 days ago, whatever it was, and does he decide to leave him at three quarters and run him in a sprint,
Hmm.
or does he stretch him out? Like right, it's three options, right, Kenny? Right,
Right.
he's three quarters, he goes to the sprint, he goes to the mile, or does he go
To the
old
classic.
school
Yeah.
and go from three quarters of a mile to the mile and a quarter? Like that to me is front and center. Like that is to me like that's the question. Like without any hesitation, like is that where he goes will be absolutely huge. If he goes to the Breeders' Cup Classic, like he's going to take money. Bob Baffert's McKinsey is going to take money.
Yeah.
You're going to have Code of Honor for Shug, who is just my Derby horse this year, is just absolutely blossoming into, I think, what a lot of us thought he would. And oh, by the way, you have Vinny Viola and Mike Rapoli's Vino Rosso sitting there,
Yeah.
getting disqualified from his last race with bumping. He's sitting on, coming out to Santa Anita, where he's a proven winner out there. So, like, I got to go to the Classic. I really do. Like,
Yeah.
because I just think if Omaha Beach goes, Kenny, like you could argue and sit there and go, you could run this race 10 times and you might get 11 different winners, if you know what I mean.
I
Like
do know what you mean.
that's how close it is.
I
Like,
think it's
really
as
do.
wide
So
open
I would
as
look
ever.
at the Classic, Kenny. I would look at the Classic.
Yeah, I think it's as wide open as ever, the Classic.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be fun. I can't wait. And look, how about the juvenile? I mean, you got Roman's horse, right? Dennis Moment, right? Dennis's Moment. I think
Moment.
that's
Yeah.
the name of the horse, right?
Yeah.
You got 8 rings for Baffert, right?
Right.
And then you got the horse that win at Keeneland the other day. I think is it Maximus, I believe, that right? They made that huge. It looked
Yeah.
like a Rossi there making that.
It wasn't a
turn
Rossi type move, wasn't it?
for Brendan Walsh, right? So like you got, I mean, three absolute beasts there. I could see that race, Kenny, falling apart, because I think, I mean, there is usually you get those 2-year-old races in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, going 2 turns. You got horses that are quick and they're proven speed, and then you get a couple of horses that are trying to stretch out, or and they go so quick so early that all of a sudden you get this one horse. But that's another race that you can sit there and probably make a case for 3 or 4, and all of a sudden some 40-1 shot comes and picks them up and lays them down, and hopefully we're on the right side of that pillow.
It's a Volpone year. Who? What was that horse's name again?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Eddie, I love to catch up with you, and I can't wait to see you. And I'm so happy for the book, and so happy that you've been cancer-free for over a year. That's the most important thing, my friend.
Kenny, you're the best. I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Say hi to your dad for me, okay, pal?
I will. Say hi to the
All right,
family. Love you, Eddie.
Talk to you soon. I will, man. See you, pal.
Thanks, pal. Eddie Olczyk, truly one of my favorite people on earth, beating the odds in hockey and in life. That is the book. You can get it on Amazon and pretty much any bookstore right now. We'll be back to talk with Charles C. Canty when we return here on The Horse Racing Show. Stay with us.